الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, first and foremost we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all the favors, the bounties, the gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us, and we place salawat and taslim upon the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam as a means of barakah. Alhamdulillah, just to recap on our last class, we spoke about the originator of actions, the one that creates actions, the one that sort of fashions actions in a certain way. And we spoke about the different opinions that we find within certain groups, and of course the stance of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah between all of those groups. And we focused particularly on the Mu'tazila, which we explained that the Mu'tazila have this understanding that a human can create because Allah had placed within the ability to create. So we said no, we have a problem with that, because creating by its definition means from non-existence into existence. Whether we're looking at the material of that particular thing, whether we look at some sort of feature of that particular thing, everything about it, the knowledge about it is from non-existence into existence. And so therefore we attribute creating only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so in that sense, we disagree with the Mu'tazila for them to believe that actions is created by the individual. And we also disagree with those that feel that you have absolutely no choice, as we spoke about the Jabariyah, the people that do not believe in a choice. And we also spoke about the extreme after the Mu'tazila, and that is the Qadariyah, that the Qadariyah believe that you create your own decree. So they went a bit further than the Mu'tazila. Mu'tazila only claim that you create your own actions, where the Qadariyah claim that you create your own destiny. So on one hand we have the extreme of the Jabariyah, and we have the other extreme of the Qadariyah. And of course we know that the Mu'tazila is sitting close to the Qadariyah, but not necessarily on the level of Qadariyah, because they still believe that indeed Allah destines and decrees for things. Now the problem with the two extremes, just to recap so that it's going to lead towards what we're going to discuss tonight inshallah ta'ala, and that is when one looks at the Jabari, when we say that you do not have a choice, you do not have a decision, therefore whatever Allah then sends to you as instructions has no use. For instance, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forces us to do things, there would be absolutely no benefit and no use for the Anbiya and the Rasul, because they had come with a Sharia, and the Sharia tells us this is what you need to do, that is what we need to do. If we were forced to do things in this world, then there would be no need for Sharia. There would be no need for Sharia. So somebody, for instance, as an example, somebody steals, and he turns around and he says, no, look, I couldn't help it, I had no choice, I had to steal. Then why would the Sharia stipulate the had then for Sariqah? Why do we find in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَقَطَعُوا أَيْدِيَهُمَا نَكَالًا بِمَا كَسَبَا جَزَاءً مِنَ اللَّهِ. That you have to, and we know this is not in our sort of, we're not living in a khilafah, we don't have an Islamic governance, so we cannot implement these rules min fadlik. There's certain conditions inshallah that we can speak about later in fiqh. But the ayah says that if you steal, then you must chop off the hands. You must chop off the hands. And there has been circumstances that even during the time of khilafah, that was not done, specifically through the drought, where people are very desperate and they stole, and Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu did not place the had on these people. So these conditions need to be filled, and there has to be institutions and organizations that have authority as a hakim, as a governor or a judge to implement the rules. We do not believe in somebody taking the matters in their own hand. No. This is done by the court, done by the law of Sharia in that sense. So therefore, if somebody is supposed to do something, there's no use for Sharia. Not only is there no use for the Sharia, but that means there's no use for the Rusul and Anbiya that was sent. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that their objective was what? لِيُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ, so that He may clarify and explain to people what they need to do. So if there was no choice in what we need to do, and we are forced to do it, there will be no benefit for the Anbiya and the Rasul. Not only that, if we are forced to do certain things, that means there should not be accountability. But we know in our deen there is accountability. There is responsibility, this taklif. When we say wa mukallaf, meaning we are accountable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala holds us accountable and responsible for certain things. So meaning if there was no choice, there would be no taklif. That's the second problem. And we find that there is taklif within our sharia. Third thing, part of the anbiya, let's say the anbiya is first, the sharia is second, the taklif is third. The fourth thing that we will have a problem with, if we believe we don't have a choice, is that there will be no use in Jannah and Jahannam then. Because if I'm forced to, like a robot, we're not going to hold, for instance, a computer. We're not going to hold a phone accountable. It's the user of the phone that is held accountable, but the phone itself, we're not sentenced to jail if it does some sort of thing. Never found in a court where the FBI is dealing with somebody and the phone is standing there to answer the questions. No, because why? Because the phone has no choice. So therefore punishment and reward is not applicable for the phone. And if we say that we do not have a choice, then Jannah and Jahannam makes no sense. Then Jannah and Jahannam makes no sense, and we find within the Quran and the Hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam speaks about Jannah and speaks about Jahannam. The fourth consequence of a person not believing in choice, if Allah punishes a person. So for instance, Allah says, if you do this in the Quran, then this will be your punishment. Khalidina fiha abada. Somebody commits shirk or kufr, and they say, look, I have no choice. Then how do we explain the ayah where Allah says that the outcome of shirk and the outcome of kufr is fi nari jahannam khalidina fiha, that will be forever in Jahannam? That means Allah must be unjust, which is la yajuz. So therefore 5 consequences of that particular belief. That the first one, there will be no use for the Anbiya and Rusul. Allah would have sent them useless. They have no mission, they have no purpose, and uselessness is la yajuz upon Allah. Second thing we said, there would be no sense for Sharia, because Sharia is there to be implemented by the individual. Thirdly, taklif will not be there. Accountability, keeping the person responsible, will not exist, where we know that Allah even described the day of Qiyamah as Yawmul Hisab, the day of accountability. And then we said the fourth one is that if we say that a person has no choice, the concept of Jannah and Jahannam becomes useless. And if it does exist, if we say no, I have no choice but Jannah and Jahannam exists, and people will land up there, then we go to the fifth one, and that means that if Allah places somebody in Jahannam, then that would be unjust if he had no choice. If he had no choice. And that's what we know in our deen, even from a Sharia point of view, that if somebody is forced in a particular thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for instance, when he stipulates what is halal and haram for us to eat, so he mentions the categories of haram, and then at the end of that he says, إِلَّا مَا اضْطُرِرْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ, except that which you are forced to, Allah is not going to hold you accountable. A person is in a very dire circumstance, and he has nothing but a pig in front of him, for instance. Then we know there's a qa'idah in usul that says, ad-darura tubihul mahdurat, very important concept. That necessities makes that which is prohibited permissible. Necessity. So you in the middle of the desert where you have absolutely no food, or we come across places in the world, those travelers, they cannot find one place that is halal. You look everywhere and wallahi, we don't understand how fortunate we are. Even though we have certain complications, there is no system that is perfect, Jama'ah al-Muslimin. That's human-made in that sense. No system that is perfect. But we don't realize the advantage of we are able to walk into a shop or we see the halal certificate, and I'm not going to speak about which halal certificate, let's just keep it like that, and we are able to eat with a peace of mind. Wallahi, it is such an advantage. When I was in America, we could literally almost not find any halal restaurant when we were there. Until alhamdulillah we came across one, but it really took us a long time. And so again, and in Europe it's worse. It's much more worse than to find a halal restaurant in certain areas. So necessity. Necessity. I don't have a halal stamp on this thing, can I eat it or not? Necessity, if it's darura, then the qaida is what? Ad-darurat tubihul mahdurat. Necessities makes that which is impermissible, permissible. But it has to be darura. It has to be a necessity means for you to have. So in that sense, when we think about a person being forced, it does not make sense that Allah holds him accountable. It does not make sense that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala holds him accountable. As Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu did not place the hadd of sariqah upon people that were stealing. Why? Because it was dire circumstances. People had drought, so there was no food, there was no plantation, there was absolutely nothing. So people that stole certain things to eat, Sayyidina Umar did not place the hadd upon them, but he tried to sort of give back to those that were stolen out. But of course, we don't mean now that people go steal anything. Somebody says, okay, Sheikh, I need to get to work, I need to steal a car. No. Here was specifically a necessity for a person to live. That is what we categorize as a necessity. If it's dealing with your living, that is very important. So there's other means. We don't have to steal a car. There's bus, there's taxis, there's taking a lift, standing on the corner, bismillah, I don't know how safe it is, but there's other means for a person to find transport, as an example. So when we come to that qaida, then we know that if a person had no choice, Allah will not hold them accountable. And if Allah punished them, then that will mean Allah is unjust, and that is la yajuz upon Allah. That is not permissible and possible upon Allah, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described himself as al-adl, the ultimate justice. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Qaf, وَمَا أَنَا بِظَلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ, I am not unjust towards my slaves. I am not unjust towards my slaves. So therefore, the concept of a person believe that you have no choice from a textual point of view, meaning Quran and Sunnah, and even from a logical point of view, it does not make absolutely no sense. Now we come to the other extreme that we spoke about, and that is the Qadariyah. The Qadariyah that believes that you create your own destiny, and to a certain degree, we find that language spoken in the Western world. Right? What do they tell our youth and our youngsters? You create your own destiny. You create your own destiny. Now let's look at it from a theological point of view. Is that permissible to say? So what is the consequence of such a belief? Firstly, if you create your own destiny, that means you are bringing something non-existent into existence. Now, so what does that mean? That before you brought it into existence, it did not exist whatsoever. So it means that when you create it, astaghfirullah azim, Allah discovers it. So that's a problem. Because again, if we say that you are creating your own decree, you're creating your own destiny, by the definition of creating, that means you're creating something non-existent. Even the theory of it does not exist. Even the knowledge of it does not exist. So you're bringing it into existence, meaning that Allah did not know about it before you brought it in. So the first consequence is what? It's going to lead that Allah, astaghfirullah azim, discovers something. The second thing it will lead to, that means Allah at one point, unfortunately, according to this concept, was attributed with imperfection. What is the imperfection that Allah was attributed with? Ignorance. Because again, Allah did not supposedly know about it before. So at one stage, Allah was ignorant about it, and then He became knowledgeable about it, which is a big, huge problem, to attribute to Allah imperfections. And the third thing that will come out of such a concept is that if we create our own decree, our own destiny, that means Allah's ilm becomes dependent on our action. So dependency, that's the third problem. If a person creates his own decree, his own destiny, that means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge becomes dependent on your action. Because then Allah only knows about it. So in order for Allah to be all knowledgeable about everything, He has to wait for you to create. Which of course we know is la yajuz. It's not permissible and it's not possible upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah is described with all perfection, infinite knowledge, infinite wisdom, absolute wisdom, all of those things as we spoke about right in the beginning in the introduction of the class. Now continuing on those two understandings. Continue on those understandings, and the understanding that Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah believes that your action is created by Allah. Your choice is created by Allah. Why do we say that? And I spoke about this briefly in our last class. If we say we create our own actions, it's sort of the same consequence as believing you create your own degree. Same consequence. Because if you create your own action, that means it was non-existent before you created it. Right? And the second thing is, that means Allah was ignorant at one point. The third consequence, meaning Allah's knowledge depends on you creating that action. But we believe that even actions are created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala based upon the ayah that we said, وَاللَّهُ خَلَقَكُمْ وَمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. Allah said that I have created you and that which you do. I have created you and that which you do. So therefore both the action and the creation are both creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that sense. Now Imam al-Bajuri speaks about a very important concept, and that is the cause and effect concept. Now in physics we understand that to a certain degree that the cause and the effect cannot be the same thing at the same time. I cannot say that, for instance, if this phone falls, and say that the phone is the cause and the effect. What is the cause? The phone falling. The effect? The banging sound. I cannot attribute both the cause and the effect to the phone, because it's not the phone that caused it, I caused it. The effect was the banging sound. So things, in order for it to interact or sort of engage, there has to be a cause and effect theory. That there's something happening and there's a result of that particular thing happening. And that's why we do not believe that the Big Bang had brought itself into existence. Because it cannot be, so what do they say? The Big Bang, and through that what happened? Evolution. You know, by chance everything came into existence. But that means the cause and the effect then is the same thing. Is Zaid, how? It can't be the same thing. So therefore the effect was Big Bang. Who was the cause of the Big Bang? We believe Allah. We believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why do we say that? Because any cause, or let me say, any cause, a thing that is happening, an occurrence, or an event, or a change, all of these things are possibilities. All of these things is possibilities. For instance, as an example, tomorrow I might first put my bag into the car, then get into the car, or get into the car, and then put my bag down. It's open to possibilities. Right? So therefore there has to be an originator behind that possibility that brings it into existence. Now if somebody says, I am the one that brought it into existence, then there's a problem. Because any possibility needs something that is not possible to bring it into possibility, into existence. Because we talk about possibility 50-50 chance. It either can exist or it cannot exist. We need something to bring it into existence. So from a 50%, we needed to go to 100%. Now, if I am also subject to change, meaning I am open to possibilities. So if I go into the Jama'ah, remember we spoke about the infinite cycle and the infinite chain of events. I said that if I am part of that cycle, then possibility becomes dependent on possibility, and the first possibility becomes dependent on the last possibility for it to exist. If I had to make lines, as I said, meaning, my grandfather brought my father into existence. My father brought my grandfather brought my father into existence. My father brought me into existence. I brought my son into existence. Right? If we're going to say that every single thing is dependent on the possible before, then it will lead into two things: either infinite chain of events, meaning we talk about a long line, like they call the domino effect. That you need somebody to tap the domino in order for it to fall. But if we believe that the domino falls by itself, it doesn't make sense. The cause and effect cannot be the same. Or we believe that it's an infinite cycle. So what happens in a cycle? The cycle never ends. So that means when I came into existence, to the grandfather and the great-great-grandchild, until it comes back to my grandfather, so my existence made my grandfather's existence possible, which is illogical. Because my grandfather's existence is not dependent on me to exist. And therefore they conclude to say that there has to be something external of either the chain of events or the infinite cycle. Who do we believe is the external cause? Allah. Allah is not part of the creation. Allah is not part of possibilities. Allah is not open to a 50-50 chance of everything. That's why we say Allah is not subject to change. We say Allah is not subject to change. What do we mean by that? Meaning you can't say that, okay, Allah can be so, Allah can be so. Allah can do this or Allah can't do that. We don't say that with Allah. Because if that is the case, and say Allah does something like this and then He does something like that, we're going to say, but wait, There had to be a reason that made him change from that to that. And reason is not creator. Reason is creation. And creation cannot dictate for creator. So therefore there's no reasons. We don't say there's a reason behind Allah's actions. We don't say there's a reason. We can say through our infinite, let me say through the infinite wisdom of Allah, this could possibly be a reason for us. But we should not say it's a reason for Allah. Somebody says, for instance, their car is messed up in an accident, and they say, you know what, maybe the reason is that Allah is going to replace you for something better for you. So you're giving the person a reason. But we can't attribute that reason to Allah on two levels. Why? Firstly, Allah has nothing that dictates His actions. يَفْعَلُ مَا يَشَاءُ. Allah does whatever He wishes. Allah does whatever He wills, as He describes Himself in the Quran. Second thing, our knowledge is not like Allah's knowledge. So our reason can definitely not be Allah's reason. Because you cannot compare the two knowledges. In the other knowledge, our knowledge doesn't even feature compared to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that sense. So on those two accounts, we believe that every action has to have an originator behind that action that is not open to possibilities, that is not subject to change. So the action itself needs Allah in order for it to exist. The action itself needs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order for it to exist. So therefore, the cause cannot be the same thing of the effect. But the cause has to be something, the effect of that particular thing has to be something else. So if I must put it in an Aqidah scenario, so for instance, we're speaking about action. So action is the effect of Allah's qudra, if we can understand it in that way. Allah having qudra and Allah having will, irada, or mashia. So the cause is Allah's irada, or Allah's mashia, Allah's qudra, and the effect is that we see our actions in existence. Yeah. So that is the whole debate. So now Imam al-Bajuri, he points out what is the belief of Ahlus Sunnah concerning cause and effect. He says, من اعتقد أن الأسباب العادية كالنار والسكين والأكل والشرب يؤثر في مسبباتها كالحرب والقطع والشبع والري بطبعها وذاتها فهو يا الله كافر بالإجماع. He says, whoever thinks that fire burns, the cause and the effect is in the same thing. So we believe that fire is the thing, not Allah that causes the fire. No, fire is the thing. You believe it, not just say it. You know, sometimes we use certain words, as we say in layman terms, not in a scholarly point. And we say, don't go there, the fire is going to burn you. That's not a problem, that's not an issue. But if somebody believes that the fire itself is the cause and the effect of burning is also found within the fire, then Al-Imam al-Bajuri says, all the ulama of Ahlus Sunnah, they have consensus to believe the person is kafir. Because you are attributing the cause and effect to the fire. Or he says, the knife. Now we know a knife cuts. Now, but if a person believes, again, not just saying, we believe that the knife, it cuts in itself, so it's sharp and it cuts. And we believe that the knife is the source, it's the generator behind the cutting. Then he considers, he says, these people, by the ijma', by the consensus of the ulama, these people are the fold of Islam. Why? Because they are giving an attribute of what? Of bringing things into existence. And that is shirk. Because then you are looking at, then what is Allah? What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And that's what we know. Allah shows us. It's not the thing that brings it, the effect. For instance, Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam with the fire. Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam is thrown into the fire. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders the fire what? Ya nar kuni bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim. The creator of the fire tells the fire, no, you can't burn. You can't burn. In actual fact, be cool and peaceful for Nabi Ibrahim. So therefore the fire has no ability and has no power except that Allah grants it its power. The knife, Nabi Ismail, right? We know the whole story. Nabi Ismail alayhi salam and Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam. So Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam literally has the knife against the throat of Nabi Ismail and he's cutting. Can you imagine what this means? He's cutting. It's not like he stopped him before he cut. No, the sword is on, or the knife is on the throat. of Nabi Ismail and Nabi Ibrahim is cutting, but nothing is happening. Why is nothing happening? Because the creator of the knife is not allowing that. The creator of the knife is not allowing for it to cut. So therefore the cause, we believe, goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The cause goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he says, if a person believes that that particular thing is the cause and effect, and you believe it, you don't just say it, there's nothing wrong with saying that the fire burns. No problem with that. But if you're going to say, I believe that the fire in itself burns, then we're dealing with an Aqidah issue. Then we're speaking about the first opinion concerning if a person does that the Jama'ah, Imam Bajuri says, then the person is out the fold of Islam according to that opinion. The second thing he says, من اعتقد أنها تؤثر بقوة خلقها الله فيها. He says, whoever believes that the cause and effect is within the thing, but the cause itself was originated from Allah to give the ability to do that thing to cause. Like what? Like the Mu'tazila in action. In the Jama'ah, remember we said the Mu'tazila believe what? That your action is a creation of you, but Allah given you the ability to create. So they're not taking Allah completely out of the whole equation. They're not taking Allah completely. They're still saying if it was not for Allah's power, you would not be able to create. So they're still saying we depend on Allah. That saves them to a certain degree. But if you do that, if you believe that the cause and effect is found within the thing, but you believe it's because of an external power that gave that ability to that thing, then he says that is a belief that is corrupt, but it's not kufr. There is a belief that is corrupt, illogical, does not go with Quran and Sunnah, and it's not accepted. But it does not put the person out the fold of Islam. Why? Because he's not completely removing Allah. He's still saying that that thing, even if it's the cause and the effect, but it needs Allah to do that. But it's illogical to say that. It's not accepted to say that. And then he speaks about the third opinion, and he says that whoever believes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ultimately is the cause, and the creation sees the effect, and this is the Aqidah of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is the Aqidah of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that the cause is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the generator is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the originator is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the effect we see within creation. He says that is where Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah sits according to their belief. So in that sense we see that between the cause and effect, it is then according to the Aqidah of Ash'ari Maturidiyya that we do not believe that things in itself, objects or even human beings, have the cause within themselves. No, we say that the causes comes from Allah. You do something, Allah had given you that cause. Allah had originated that cause. And the effect is your action. But both action and cause to a certain degree is from whom? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you believe that action is created also by Allah. Now somebody might ask then, Sheikh, what is the whole role of choice then? If your action is created by Allah, your decree is by Allah, your choices is created by Allah, then what is the role of a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That's an important question, but we will get there. I'm going to keep the Jama'ah quickly on a pause there, but we will get there inshallah ta'ala. But it's a very important question. Then Al-Imam Al-Laqani speaks about the success, the understanding of what is success and the understanding of what is failure. The understanding of what is success and what is failure, and who is the originator behind success and failure. Because again, what we're basically dealing with, what we normally discuss, good and bad. Can we say, and if we do say, good comes from Allah, the next question is, can we say, bad comes from Allah? Now, it's a question, and I know a lot of that are sitting here knows the answer already, but it's a very philosophical, theological, important question. That the Mu'tazila had come and negated any evil attributed to Allah. And they based it upon ayat, by the way. They based it upon ayat. Like what ayat? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about when this hasanat that comes away, فَمِنَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ سَيَّةٍ فَمِنْ نَفْسِكَ. Literally the ayat translates in which way? That whatever good comes your way, and I've given a literal translation, So I'm not giving a tafsir, I'm not giving a context, I'm not giving a deep understanding. So the Jama'ah understands in that sense. This is not my opinion. I'm just giving a literal translation of the ayah. And the ayah goes as follows: that whatever good comes your way, then it's from Allah. And whatever bad comes your way, then it's from min nafsik, then from yourself. That's what the ayah says. But there's a context and there's an understanding to that ayah. We have to contextualize it. We can't just take an ayah and isolate it and say that's the deen. That's the understanding of choice. That's the understanding of qada and qadar. That's the understanding of evil and good. We can't do that because there's many other ayah that explains that ayah. But we were going to get to that. So he says, Imam Al-Azhari says, مُوَفِّقٌ لِمَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يَصِلْ وَخَاذِلٌ لِمَنْ أَرَادَ بُعْدَهُ. He says Allah grants success for whoever wants to connect to Allah, and Allah places failure upon a person whoever wants to distance himself from Allah. So when one wants to become closer to Allah, Allah gives him success. And if one wants to distance himself from Allah, Allah places failure upon him, according to Imam Al-Azhari. So Imam Al-Bajuri says, before we get to that, the whole understanding of how do we look at failure and success from Allah, he says it's important for us to first define what is success and what is failure. Because it's our intellect might give different perspectives and paradigms of how we define something. Somebody might say success is when a person is wealthy. And somebody else might come and say success if a person has a beautiful and good family. Somebody else might come and say success if a person has a PhD. So we know that our understandings of what success and failure is will differ. Because we will base it upon our understanding, where we come back from, the environment, the background, what our parents brought us up upon. You know, sometimes parents bring you up in a certain environment, and that is success. Like I know a person that believes that success is for him to be a very, very good, perfect, I won't say perfect, but he believes that success is him becoming the ultimate BMW mechanic. Why does he believe that? Because his father was a mechanic before him. And his father was very good. So he believes that ultimate success to him is to become better than his father as a mechanic. Which is not an issue, it's not haram. It's permissible, that's him. But that's how he defines success. Somebody else might come and say, success, for instance, we even know that some people look at my ultimate success if I get married. People have those understandings. So we will always differ. What directs us as Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah is not our intellect per se, but what the Sharia say. Because Sharia, ma qala Allah wa ma qala Rasul. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and what the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam explains. Then we put the argument to the end, yani, full stop. If Allah says, the Nabi says, khalas, whatever we say does not count. So according to the Sharia, what is success? So he says, التوفيق عند الشرع هو طاعة الله عز وجل. They say that success by the Sharia means when you obey Allah. That is success. That if a person obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granting the person success. And by that also they say, al-khadalan, unsuccessful or failure, it is when a person disobeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So nothing about how life looks at it or our world view of what success and failure is, it's directly connected to the deen. So according to the Sharia, success is if you obey Allah, and failure is if you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why we know even when we speak about success and failure, for instance, in life itself, we can be very technical and say, no, it's not failure. Somebody, for instance, does an exam, and he does not make it. What do we say? He failed the exam. But it could be through that failure that he becomes successful. That it could be through that failure he learns now his mistakes, and he strengthens his weaknesses, and the next thing is on success. And that, for instance, happened to me in the 1 year that I was on the university. I thought to myself, confident all the years, alhamdulillah, going through, until I came to 1 year, and I failed, and wallahi, it hit me hard. because I never experienced failure before then. But that year is really personally where I felt that complete transformation of how I look at how do I study and how do I acquire knowledge and what is my intention of acquiring knowledge. That for me helped me, because then when a person understands what is failure, they value success much more. They value success much more. A person that starts off poor, when he gets money, he values that money much more than a person that inherits a lot of money and he becomes rich. So we see there, the child that for instance comes into the wealth of the father, and the father that had to work himself to death to receive or to get to that daraja. The other one does not know necessarily the value and the worth of that which they have, where the other one understands that he had nothing and he worked himself from supposedly how our society will categorize failure. If they say you're poor, you're a failure. That's the society. That's the Western understanding. Capitalism. It's all about rich, money, gain, do what you can, and be the capitalist in your profession. Be the best, get the most money, be the most wealthiest. If you're the opposite of that, then they consider you to be a failure. If you're not educated according to society, then you're a failure. If you're not rich according to society, you're a failure. If you do not have status or position according to society, you're a failure. But again, all of those things can change from failure to success. In actual fact, those challenges that we go through could be tools and means that Allah grants us to get to success. So again, it differs. I see the cup half full, the brother sees the cup half empty. I see the zebra with white with black stripes, the brother sees black with white stripes. We're always going to differ, because that's according to where we come from and our background that's going to give us that picture. But Sharia is beyond intellect, it's wahi. And that's why we trust in wahi more than the intellect. And that's our method. Why do I mention this and emphasize this? Because the Mu'tazila, they believe in at-tahseen al-aqli wa at-taqbih al-aqli. What does that mean? What the intellect says is success, and what the intellect says is failure, which is problematic. Problematic. Like for instance, most recent challenge that we have in our society is this whole approach on gender and the categories of gender. Alright? If the Jama'ah is aware of this. Like if you go to universities, you will see. Nowadays, people, you have to be sensitive. I feel sorry for the doctors nowadays when the patient or the wife gives birth. They can't anymore say, some hospitals, it's a boy or it's a girl. Because then the people will say, why do you assume the gender? Gender is not something absolute according to them. So what do they mean? The person can be non-binary, meaning he has no gender, not a woman or a man. So what does that mean? If he's not a woman or a man, they say non-binary. To a degree that some professor had written down, there's almost today, and counted and still increasing, 90 genders. 90, the Jama'ah imagine, 90 genders that exist. Tomorrow, if I want to claim I'm a bottle, they can't have a problem with that. Right? Because then if I commit a wrong, can't hold a bottle in court. Bottles, nobody said, if I see my gender to be a dog, and I do something wrong, I break the law, can't hold me accountable. I'm a dog. Right? Just teach me, train me, but you can't hold me accountable. You know, it doesn't make sense. It's illogical. Now the problem with that is because they base gender upon what the intellect sees. What is a gender? That means the next person is going to be a male or female or transgender, transsexual, a non-binary, whatever, 90 genders. It's just going to increase and increase and increase, and there's going to be no basis for those things. Why? Because we are dependent on what the intellect says is right and what the intellect says is wrong. What the intellect sees is good, and what the intellect sees is bad. What I see bad might not necessarily be bad for the next person. Somebody, for instance, I see my personal experience, and I'm giving this example to understand that it does not make sense to base things upon the intellect. And we know no matter what we try, we will always be subjective. Subjective, what does subjective mean to some that might not understand? Subjective meaning you will be doing things and choosing according to your environment. Nobody can claim complete objectivity.
Objectivity means that you stand on one side and you are able to judge. Without Sharia, without Quran, without Sunnah, you are able to judge. No. You will find there's some sort of biasness towards something. There will always be a biasness towards something. If somebody, for instance, should come to me and say, Sheikh, is it thought for the person to go learn Quran or to go educate himself? Now, because maybe I feel biased towards ilm, in the sense of deen, I might say, no, I see that going to learn Quran and learn hifz, that is better than the person going academically. Then another person comes and says, but Sheikh, isn't for a person to be critical within the understanding of the deen and to be authentic, they need the tools to understand it. Like what? Like critical thinking, rationality, logic, all of those things for me to understand properly, for me to have a systematic understanding of my deen. Somebody might come and say that. So again, how do we determine what is good, what is bad, what is evil, what is right, what is wrong, what is success, and what is failure? And that's why we know even when it comes to beauty and ugliness, we can't agree. We can't. That's why there's a famous quote we know, beauty lays within the eye of the beholder. Nothing against anybody, but sometimes, and I think everybody can speak of their own experience, they see a couple and they look at the one spouse and they think, Ya Allah, how did he get it right? Or how did she get it right? You think to yourself, because you can't see the beauty, but it might be that that person sees the beauty. That person sees exactly what they want to see. So again, we will differ all the time. So it's best then we have an absolute haqq. What is haqq? Ma qala Allah, ma qala Rasul. That is where we agree. That is where we come together. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنْ اخْتَلَفْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. That if there's differences, then go back to what Allah says and what the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says. So when we believe that success is coming closer to Allah, obeying Allah, and failure is distancing yourself from Allah and disobeying Him, then we are speaking about now Hidayah to Allah. Because that now becomes a thing. So Hidayah will become success, and Dalal, astrayness, will become failure. And even those who understand it, we believe comes from whom? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only Allah grants Hidayah, and only Allah grants or places upon a person Dalal. Yes, Allah uses certain things and tools and means, like the Anbiya and Rusul, there are tools to Hidayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one ayah mentions to the Nabi alayhi salam, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتُ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. That Ya Rasulullah, you in yourself, you're not necessarily directly the originator of guidance. But Allah guides whoever He wishes. That's what Allah tells him. And then in another ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to the Nabi to be Hidayah. So what is Allah trying to tell us through the holistic understanding? That yes, Hidayah comes from Allah, but the Nabi is a tool and a means for Hidayah. Right? But now when we think about Hidayah and we think about Dalal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيُضِلُّ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Allah grants Hidayah to whoever He wishes, and He places astrayness upon whoever He wishes. And in actual fact, there is another ayah where Allah threatens us to question Allah's actions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. He says, I am not questioned on what I do, yet you find them questioning me. Now we know with our adab and akhlaq with our parents, it's completely disrespectful, especially if we're old school, completely disrespectful to question your parent in any way. I know that if I had to, while growing up, and I think still it might happen now, I'm not sure, but while growing up, if my father had given me an instruction or gave me something, and I had to ask the question, why? Ya Allah, janazah the next day. Janazah the next day. You don't do that. You don't, you never try that. Maybe today's generation is a bit different, I'm not sure. But the old generation, you don't do that. Why do they say you don't do that? Because it's not adab. It's disrespectful. It is as if you are questioning their wisdom. It is as if you question their knowledge. It is as if you question their experience. That's what it means indirectly. Now, if it's disrespectful to question parents, what about the creator of the parents? There is a haram to question Allah, not just disrespectful. It's haram. Ya Allah, why did you do this? Ya Allah, why did you cause that? We can try to understand, which is one thing. But when we question in a means of rebelling or rejecting, then that falls under the term of how. Then it's la yajuz for a person to question Allah. And in actual fact, that's what Allah, when Allah says, yet they question Him, Allah speaking about the Jews, Bani Israel. That whenever Allah had decreed for something, they question. We see the Baqarah. Alright? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Nabi Musa, tell them, idbahu Baqarah. Slaughter a cow. What do? They said, okay, now why a cow? Then Nabi Musa said, the cow is a cow. Okay, now tell us, what kind of cow? What's the color of the cow? Do the cow procreate? Why are you questioning so much? Do the commandment. Because what we all understand is that before we try to extract the wisdom, if the order is an order that's clear, submission is needed, then conviction. That's why we believe you become Muslim and Iman will enter in your heart afterwards, right? Allah tells the Arabs what? وَقَالَتِ الْأَعْرَابُ آمَنَّا قُلْ لَمْ تُؤْمِنُوا وَلَكِنْ قُولُوا أَسْلَمْنَا وَلَمَّا يَدْخُلُ الْإِيمَانُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Arabs, don't say you have Iman yet, but say you have Islam, meaning submit. And after that, Iman will enter in your heart. So if Allah says Salah, we don't question why Salah and then do it. No, Salah, we do it. And then we can find out some wisdoms that we extract from the understanding of Salah. So therefore he says, for instance here, Hidayah and Dalal, success and failure ultimately comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and does not come from creation. Because if it does come from creation, we're going to go back to creation if they created their own actions. Those consequences. If we say that success and failure comes from the creation himself, then we have the three problems. Dependency, ignorance, and also sharing an attribute of creating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which on all three is la yajuz. It's not possible in the relation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what is beautiful, the ayah that he quotes. Let's see what's the time now. It's a real Isha. It's a real Isha. That went quick. Okay, I just want to quote this one ayah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about Hidayah and Dalal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-An'am, ayah 125. Surah Al-An'am, ayah 125. Allah says, فَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهَ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Allah says, whoever He wills for, He opens His chest to Islam. Whoever He wills for, He opens His chest to Islam. Meaning He grants him Hidayah. Grants him Hidayah. وَمَنْ يُرِدْ أَنْ يَضِلَّهُ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and whoever He wishes, or He wills for, ضَلَالٍ يَجْعَلْ صَدْرَهُ ضَيِّقًا حَرَجًا. Allah makes His chest tight. Tight. Allah says, I make His chest tight. ضَيِّقًا حَرَجًا كَأَنَّمَا يَصَّعَدُ فِي السَّمَاءِ. It is as if He is going into the sky. Now two things on there. First thing, it proves that Hidayah and Dalal comes from Allah alone. Second thing, this is one of the mu'ajizat in the Quran. How did the Nabi, if it was supposedly from the Nabi, the Quran, how did the Nabi know if you go high in the sky, oxygen becomes less? What's the ayah telling us? Allah said, what? If I place dalal upon him, his chest will become tight as if he is going up in the sky. There was no planes at that time. There was no planes at that time for a person to go at that atmosphere to have no oxygen. To understand that if you hit that level, then there's no oxygen. That's why we know in a plane, if something happens and you're that high, they give down the pressure marks and the oxygen mask, because there it's very difficult to breathe. But look at that, more than 1,400 years ago, Allah reveals that to the Nabi. That if you go that high, your chest becomes tight. SubhanAllah. We'll end of the inshallah ta'ala. And I have, let me say, 2 minutes. Let's make it 2 minutes because I know how long Mr. Abdul makes Adhan already timed him, and so that we can still get it for the Adhan. If there's any questions on what we spoke about tonight.